interrupted by rain. I think it's about the only matter during these debates for which I have not been blamed at some point. It was an act of God, I think, Madam Deputy Speaker. But could I also congratulate my honourable friend, the member for Aberdeen South, for securing this debate, and also to thank all of those who participated both in the debate today and the debate last week. And perhaps I could try and find the one, perhaps, element of consensus that I do think unites both sides of this House, Madam Deputy Speaker, and that is that most speakers have referred to the fact that they have no time for aggressive and contrived tax avoidance. And they are right. And the reason for that is that for every amount of tax that is avoided in that way, there is more tax that other taxpayers have to find, or there is less funding for our vital public services. And let me just begin, Madam Deputy Speaker. I won't, I'm afraid, because I just want to make progress. There's a lot to cover in little time. But let me just, for the benefit of the House, just set out the heart of how these schemes work so that we're very clear on that particular point. An employer can engage an employee and pay them in the normal way by way of earnings, in which case national insurance for the employer and the employee falls due. There is also income tax to be paid on the part of the employee. Or you can use a loan scheme. And a loan scheme works generally like this. Instead of the employer paying the employee in the way I've described, money is sent out to a low or no tax haven. It is placed in a trust. And the money then comes from the trust back into the United Kingdom, where it is treated as a loan, although there is no intention of ever settling that loan or paying it off. And because it is treated as a loan, it is claimed that it does not fall due to any national insurance or income tax because it is not earnings. Now, most people, I think, Madam Deputy Speaker, when confronted with that reality of how these schemes work, would say that that was not right. And this brings me on to one of the most commonly held misconceptions about these schemes and the loan charge, is that the loan charge is retrospective. There was never a time, Madam Deputy Speaker, in the history of our country where the model for payment that I have just outlined has ever been correct within the tax rules of any previous year. I won't give way just yet. That is a simple fact. The second point that I would make is that the very nature of this means of payment, of tax avoidance, is that there is a loan that is still outstanding in the present. It is still outstanding today, Madam Deputy Speaker, right at this very moment, for those schemes that still persist. And it is a simple fact, Madam Deputy Speaker, that for most people, and I include 99.8% of the tax-paying public who did not go anywhere near these schemes, most people would have concluded that if they looked too good to be true, they probably were too good to be true. And I will give way to my honourable friend.
Thank you very much, Financial Secretary. It's very generous of him. In my constituency, 140 people are affected, and they were largely in the oil and gas sector. But oil and gas employers were encouraging to go into it. Doesn't he agree that that sector, companies in that sector, should be held to account, and employers and the people who sold the schemes should be held to account?
Honourable friend is entirely right. I'm going to come on in the limited time I have to deal both with employers and promoters, because those are very important aspects too. So when it comes to retrospective, the other important point, Madam Deputy Speaker, is contrary to the suggestion that many honourable and right honourable members have made that suddenly this has just appeared as an issue and HMRC has just started to address these schemes, they have been taken through the courts over countless years. The 2004 Dawn Primarolo, who's referenced in this debate earlier, was instrumental in bringing in the DOTAS legislation, upon which recent cases have been concluded in HMRC's favour. So there has been a concerted effort by HMRC over many, many years to clamp down on these particular arrangements. Some of the other misinformation, Madam Deputy Speaker, includes this idea that thousands upon thousands of taxpayers are about to be made bankrupt. HMRC very, very rarely has a situation where somebody is placed in a situation of bankruptcy. It is not right for the individual and it is not right for our tax-collecting authority. And in fact, the honourable gentleman, the member for Mole Valley, in the debate last week, actually gave several examples of where he had accompanied his constituents and got involved in their tax affairs and their dealings with HMRC. And in each case, as he was able to state, a fair and reasonable settlement was entered into. And that is the main thrust of HMRC's approach. It has also been suggested that people will lose their homes as a consequence of the loan charge. It could not be clearer. HMRC have publicly stated that nobody will lose their primary residence as a consequence of settling their loan charge liability. And what I would also say is that on this point that my honourable friend raised, of employers and individuals, it has been assumed widely in this debate that the vast majority of those impacted by these measures are individuals. That is not the case. Of the 6,000 settlements to date, the £1 billion that have brought in, 85% by value has come from employers, not employees. And in the first instance, HMRC will go to the employer, not the employee. The issue of promoters is extremely important, and quite rightly, a number of honourable and right honourable members have raised this issue. And I want to make it clear that HMRC is cracking down on the unscrupulous promoters that sell these schemes. In fact, HMRC is currently investigating over 100 promoters and others involved in the promotion of tax avoidance, and this includes promoters of disguised remuneration schemes. In recent years, HMRC has also litigated a number of cases for failure to disclose under DOTAS, which came in 2004, not recently, it came in 2004, and several recent decisions in cases on disguised remuneration have been found in HMRC's favour. HMRC has also made successful complaints to the Advertising Standards Authority in relation to DR schemes to stop promoters making misleading claims about the arrangements that they are selling. And just 2 weeks ago, HMRC announced that it has won a legal case against loan scheme avoidance promoter Hyrax Resourcing, which will help HMRC collect over £40 million in unpaid tax. Madam Deputy Speaker, for these reasons, as I have set out, it would not be right to delay these arrangements. But let me now turn, Madam Deputy Speaker, to two particularly important issues that many members have raised. Firstly, that of the affordability of payment arrangements. And let me be very clear that it is never the intention of HMRC to bankrupt anyone who comes forward in good faith to agree a manageable payment plan. And I can confirm that HMRC is authorised to agree tailored repayment plans for those affected by the loan charge based on ability to pay. Where tax is payable under self-assessment, payment will of course not be due until January 2020. There is also no maximum repayment period, and plans of 10 years or more can be put in place where required. Further, I can announce today, Madam Deputy Speaker, that HMRC is now forming a dedicated team focused solely on agreeing these manageable payment arrangements for those due to pay the tax they owe by way of the loan charge. I have no time, I'm sorry. The second very important matter I would like to address, Madam Deputy Speaker, is around the interaction of vulnerable people and HMRC regarding disguised remuneration and the loan charge, including where there are mental health issues. Madam Deputy Speaker, let me make it clear that wherever HMRC is engaging with vulnerable people, they will do everything they can to ensure that they have all the support that they need. This support includes a helpline that is dedicated solely to looking after loan charge customers, with this team being fully trained to identify those who may be vulnerable and to provide appropriate support. Where necessary, HMRC will always refer individuals to the right external sources of support. HMRC also, I have little time and I must cover the ground, HMRC also has a vulnerable customers team available to provide specialist one-to-one support for those vulnerable customers in need of it. And today I can confirm that HMRC will be expanding its specialist service for customers with additional needs so that it will include anyone that finds their tax affairs under scrutiny. And as we roll out that additional support, we will start with those affected by the loan charge as our first priority. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, I appreciate that facing any tax bill is unwelcome, but it is only right that we deal with disguised remuneration. And where we fail to do so, Madam Deputy Speaker, then we are effectively saying to the 99.8% of other taxpayers who have not been involved in these schemes that we expect them to pay more, and we deny our vital public services, our nurses, our teachers, our doctors, our police and many others the funding that they deserve.